Preston, thank you so much for joining me. I am so thrilled to have you here. You've been a member now for how long?
Gosh, time flies. So I don't know, maybe a year and a half or so,
I
maybe
think
two.
so. Yeah.
Um,
Can you please tell all our members a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I'm a real estate professional here in the state of Florida. This is actually my 20th anniversary next month, September 5th, I think it is. So I started when I was 19. I was one of the youngest agents in Florida. I started at a small independent brokerage in Pace, Florida. And then one day, out of the blue, someone invited me to this lovely class that we called Bold. And so was my introduction to Keller Williams 13 years ago now. So
Wow.
since then, I co-founded the Harmon Murphy Group Real Estate Team with my business partner Diane Harmon. She has since retired 2 years ago, so she is on the beach today, and literally and figuratively. And in addition to that, I'm the team leader here at KW Gulf Coast in Pensacola, Florida. I'm the operating principal of KW Red Stick Partners in Baton Rouge, and I'm the general manager of KW Emerald Coast in Destin and at KW Northwest Louisiana in Shreveport. So across the Gulf states,
Good
roughly
for you.
just under 900 agents across those four market centers. So
Wow, Preston, I mean, that talk about someone who started a small and then you've been given so much opportunity, but opportunity only comes because of results, right?
I believe that's true. Yes, it is.
Yeah, yeah. So and I'm not sure you know this, and maybe some of you watching don't, but I also was at a small independent, and then I started my own brokerage, and then I merged, right? And so we all go through our phases of journey and what we need to know where we're at, and then grow from there. So, how did you hear about Style to Design?
I want to say that it was either a family reunion or it was something, right? You were
Okay.
on stage talking about it, and I thought that is absolutely the key to what my personal team needs, right? Because for so many years, probably like you, I had seen virtual staging out there. And if I can just be candid, I hate it. I hated virtual staging.
So, did you see the stats that came out? Like it's saying that virtual staging is the number one tool real estate agents are using, but there was a survey and it's the number one thing that buyers hate.
Yes, and I hear that all
Yeah.
the time. I hear that
Yeah.
all the time. It was so cyberspace, it was so 3D, like it was just, I mean, obviously you can look at it and tell it's not to scale. There's nothing about it that appealed to me at all. And yet at the same time, right, I believe that if we can give kudos and give credit where it's due. I also believe that the real estate professionals were trying to provide a solution for what they noted was a challenge for both buyers and sellers. And so I definitely want to give credit where it's due because those agents were looking for a solution. So then I saw you speaking somewhere and I thought, well, that is absolutely categorically what we need to explore. And that was the beginning of our journey.
Awesome. All right. So you heard me speak, then you came back to your office. What was the first thing that you did?
Well, I want to say one of the first things we did was probably register for a mastermind, right?
Okay.
To
Yeah.
get more details. And
Yeah.
from there, we had already sort of built a menu of services, if you will. We had been hearing that from Gary, and of course, in the top 100 and those masterminds for quite some time. And I will say that for years, I don't want to say I was apprehensive or skeptical about a menu of services. And yet at the same time, we had just been doing things the same old way for so long, right? So it was like, okay, well, when Style to Design came out, this was just really kind of the jumping off point for us to really go full steam ahead because by that point, we had now had separate packages, if you will.
Yeah.
So we really included style to design into what we call our exposure package, and frankly, it just took off. And this year alone, I think we are on track for something like $100,000 in additional GCI from that particular package, and that was like at the midway point through the year. So
Amazing.
and actually, just this weekend, I got another listing under contract that had previously expired with another agent after 6 months, two showings in that entire 6 month period. And we were able to get this particular house under contract with Style to Design. I want to say in 33 days. The median in here, at least here in Pensacola, is like 75 days. So
Awesome.
the proof is in the pudding, as they say right here in the
Yeah.
South.
Yeah.
And this has just been a wonderful partnership for us, and the results speak for themselves.
Well, we are so grateful for your partnership. And so many times I teach and train agents create the menu of services, do your commission tiers, do your packages. when you mentioned 100,000 additional GCI, is that because you've done commission tiers?
That's correct.
Correct. Yeah. So those of you that are listening right now, please do it. I mean, I know for us, we have dramatically, not even just my team, but my market centers, right? My market center has the average agent has increased so much on commission tiers, but also average sales price, right?
Absolutely. And actually, cool about what you just said is that I often hear, or you often hear, right, with real estate professionals, those luxury customers, that the luxury clientele, they're not going to pay that percentage, right, because their home is so valuable. In fact, we know through the data that it is often our luxury clientele who is choosing the larger, higher tier, if you will. So I don't know how to speak about commissions at this point. It's like the mastermind. It's like which
It's you're supposed to say fee, so higher fee. If you're on stage somewhere, you say fee, but we can have conversations. We're not talking about the percent. We're talking about the goal is to increase, and it goes back to value, right? For us, the luxury client wants value, right? They're buying the Louis, the Chanel, the all those things because they see value in it, right? It's the same thing with a real estate agent, and so people have this scarcity mindset that they want the discounted and they don't. They really want services and they want exposure, right? Which is why I love that you named that an exposure package.
Totally. In a deeply shifted market, I mean, that is the thing that they want more than anything is exposure. They want their home to appeal to the broadest number of buyers possible. And yet they also, they could make those updates on their own. They could install new furnishings. They could install, a new kitchen or bathrooms. And yet at the same time, they want to be really careful about not choosing materials and finishes and other things that maybe don't appeal to the broadest number of buyers. So this gives us a really great way to simulate those renovations, right? And so that we get exactly what they're looking for, which is more exposure.
Yeah.
And this is
So
how we do it.
I love that. So we've already said you've earned, be about 100,000 mid-year GCI, which is great. So hopefully 200,000 this year. The next thing is, have you now that because you do a lot of reality renovations, are you doing any of that to go after expireds or FISBOs, or is that already after you have that listing appointment? Are you using any of it for lead generating?
We're not using it for lead generation yet, although I'm glad you brought that up because that's kind of the next domino for us, right? Really leaning into it from the standpoint of lead generation. I won't say it's really more indirect lead generation for us this particular moment. We do make several posts about, here's our just listed, but it's a more unique, more interesting way in the way that we can sort of showcase to our followers that we used this particular product to get more exposure. And if you're interested, call us back, or reach out to us. So we haven't gone full steam ahead with lead generation, but around this service specifically, but that is kind of the next domino, as well as, I don't know the technical terminology that you use, but those trade relationships as well. The next domino we'll be doing as well.
Yeah, I just had two ladies sitting in my office, and they are doing 5 reality renovation simulations off expireds each week.
Wow.
And in conversations with a $12 million seller now because of it. And they were headed off to sign a trade agreement with a flooring company, right? So that's the powerful thing. And, being a leader, we all want to teach and train our agents how to earn additional revenue. You already have that client. So how do you bring value, but does it also become a revenue stream?
Love that. And I'm glad you brought that up because at our team meeting last week, we just pointed out that at least in Escambia County, nearly 12% of all listings are now expiring. And so that is a brilliant lead generation and prospecting strategy. So I'm a high D, so we will be doing that this afternoon.
Yeah. So
Some kind of conversation about that.
well, we should brainstorm out. So what we did is we have the first is actually in photo paper and it's their kitchen. And then what it is simulated and said, we are different. Turn the page. And then the next page goes over our value proposition and then more examples. But we actually take their expired listing image. We don't use it for marketing purposes. We take that and then that's what we're using. And it captures people. I mean, and we're FedExing the envelopes to them versus sending it by mail. And the open, the capture, and then we circle it back with in 3 days a door knock.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
So R&D, ripping off and duplicating that.
Yeah. Hey, rip it off.
Yeah.
So, All right. So we know that you're having great success. You've implemented your menu of services and your tier commission approach. The next launch is trade agreements. Is there anything else you would like to share with everybody?
I think that really encompasses it. I think ultimately, if I could share anything with anybody, it's just get started, right? And I'm not a person who's generally skeptical, but what I will say about my success is I just get started. I saw you on stage, I came back, we joined a mastermind, and I thought, let's just get this party started, so to speak. Not knowing whether or not, the customers would truly resonate with it. But I have to tell you, we have at least four. We have a curb appeal package, an exposure package, a peace of mind package, and one more. And I would say 90% of the time, people choose our exposure package because of style to design. So that's another plug for it. Not that you need it, but when you think about the additional GCI that we have taken, this not because we've taken more listings per se. That is just because of the additional revenue that we have earned, additional fees, if you will, from the listings that we would have already taken from our typical lead generation strategies. So it's a brilliant concept. It definitely speaks to the challenges that most sellers are struggling with right now, right? Which is to get exposure in a deeply shifted market, at least in the Gulf States area. And I would say just get started.
Well, we are so grateful to have you as a member. And as always, Preston, I always tell you, if you need anything, you got my number, right? Thank you.
You bet. Thanks so much, Heather.